Hi. I had a vision last night. I wanted to share. First, I'm going to start with the one that the Lord gave me about Pope Francis back in January 2015. I had just a brief vision of Pope Francis, his profile, and Yasser Arafat, who's not alive anymore, but he was a Palestinian leader, both their profiles just next to each other. And the Lord didn't give me anything. He didn't give me any understanding about this. However, I did, look up Yasser Arafat, and he was an enemy of Israel. And so that sort of gave me the thought, well, is that possibly, the same for Pope Francis? Okay, and then 6 months later, here, June 26, 2015, it says Israel unhappy with Vatican-Palestine treaty. So the Pope signed a Palestinian treaty on that Friday with Palestine authorities, formalizing a basic agreement between the Catholic Church and the PLO back in 2000. In essence, it is a formal declaration of the Holy See's support for the creation of a Palestinian state and the peace process with Israel. Although Israel wasn't happy with it, for whatever reason, probably what's worded in there. So he backed Palestine, or he signed with, this Palestinian treaty. So I thought that was interesting that most likely that's what the vision was about. Okay, so this morning I had a vision before I woke up where I saw the Pope all dressed in red. He even had a red hat on. So he was standing, and he had a bishop or cardinal on each side of him, and they were all dressed in red. So they were all dressed in red, and the Pope was signing something. And my impression was he looked as though he was doing something good, but what he was actually signing was something that was not good. It was for the worse, okay? So something evil. Okay, that was it for the vision, and what the Lord revealed to me. So with that in mind, I looked up the symbolism of the papal red and white, because they're always usually wearing red or white with the Catholic Church. And basically what I found out was, right here it says the red, when they wear something red, a cloak, it signifies the temporal as well as the spiritual authority the Pope had over the Papal States. So not only just being a spiritual leader, but a temporal or a physical leader as well. And back here in the 11th century, because it stood for the supremacy of the spiritual sphere over the temporal, St. Gregory VII warned that only the Pope may use the red cape as a sign of imperial authority and martyrdom. So basically, if they wear red, it's signifying their physical authority as well as their spiritual authority over their spiritual and overall authority over the physical. We know that in June, I believe June 18th, Pope Francis wrote his encyclical letter Laudato Si, and I'm going to leave a link to this. Basically, everything he words in here is on climate change and, equal rights for everybody, for women, children, and for the LGBT community. And so most of it mimics almost all of it mimics the UN's Agenda 21, which was later, upgraded to Agenda post 2015, the Sustainable Development document, and then now it's called Agenda 2030. And they're going to be meeting on to discuss implementing this Agenda 2030, which is just the upgraded Agenda 21, the UN's climate change, and it's all in the name of saving and protecting the environment, which is not a bad thing, but they twist it to the point where this document will give them full control over every aspect of our lives. And even like within the paper, it's talking about pushing everybody to just mega cities or metropolises, and so the environment in the rural areas can heal itself. So it's just all for control. It's just giving them means to control the masses, all right? And they want to implement Agenda 2030, which is what they're discussing on the 25th at the UN meeting in Philadelphia here. The Pope will be speaking to Congress in Washington, D.C. on the 24th, and then he's going to be speaking the next day, the 25th, at the UN Council. I had a vision back on August 25th. I just saw September 24th. And the Lord revealed to me that there's a big change coming for the worse. And so this vision I had of the Pope signing a document and knowing from, it seemed that he was doing good in my vision, but I knew that it was for not so good. He's going to be, signing, joining in with the UN on their Agenda 2030. All right. Also, this Leo Hohmann, his blog page here, he goes over everything happening in September, and it was published 3 days ago. His article right here on the Pope is Mega Agenda 21 Resurrected with Pope's Help. So due to his Encyclical, Laudato Si, and then him coming to Congress, addressing them on the 24th, and then the next day, the UN Council for the Agenda 2030, he's just backing up the UN's plans, basically. It says, Francis is expected to enthusiastically endorse a new UN document, which is Agenda 2030, that promises to wipe out poverty by 2030 by reordering the world economy along the lines of socialist principles. The document, titled Transforming Our World, 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, also seeks to strengthen universal peace and usher in a new era of shared prosperity. The Pope's visit marks just one in a series of historical and potentially prophetic events during the month of September. So then he goes over, everything else happening. Basically, they're rebooting Agenda 21, said Tom DeWeese, president and founder of the American Policy Center, and they are calling on the world's most visible religious leaders to promote the agenda, which the Pope is, in a lot of people's eyes, the highest spiritual leader. So if he says it's good, it should be good, right? Wrong. The UN 2030 agenda includes 17 goals that aim for reordering of all human activity. So it's very controlling. Okay, despite the failure of Agenda 21 that they had tried to enact in the late 90s to end poverty, the Pope of the UN will ask 193 national leaders to go home from the September 25th to 27th summit and promote the new UN plan to usher in its planned global utopia, or the New World Order, or the New World, or the New International Order, as Obama refers to it. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a heads up, and I want, we should be praying about this. I just saw him signing, and I knew that it was for something bad. And then the being dressed in red, I believe, symbolized, him trying to use his spiritual influence to influence the physical and like the world policies with the paper, the Agenda 2030. So we need to be praying. This is something serious, and we need to be praying for the church, for the true body of Christ, and for protection, as well as opportunity to minister to those that are not right with the Lord, and just to be wise and keep our eyes open and not to be deceived. God bless.